Hello everyone, the MLG Skylander Man 360 here today, and today we are reacting to Chara versus Sonic.EXE. Now, I actually saw this was given on my For You page, so I actually kind of saved it for for something I actually wanted to be interested in, and I did find out by someone this is a new Versus series, in which I actually found out most recently. Ever since Step Battle did shut down, a lot of people started making their own Versus series, and it was really interesting to see this is one of the other ones I haven't checked out yet, or actually heard about, which really kind of got my interest to actually watch it. And these are two characters that I'm probably going to be well aware of. Chara, the most interesting of the bunch of Undertale's history, as far as I remember her being one of the fallen children, however, she was one of the more dangerous ones, and still is managing to basically delete your file, which is actually kind of scary to learn. Originally, as I found out about this, with apparently the Toby originally wanted to make her uninstall the game, which that is kind of scary when you put that in the thought. And I wish that function did happen, but it just couldn't work then. So I'm kind of thinking, And Sonic.exe itself, if I remember correctly, that boy scared the liver crap out of me when I was a kid. And I remember the fact that nowadays, when I see him now, it's just what happened to the horror aspect. I really still do get scared of one, and that was Sonic.exe Nightmare. And that one really scared the crap out of me, considering what he could have done in that game comparison to what he did in the original. This man, with power wise, I know if Sonic.exe, he might have the ability to which change warp reality around him. He's also able to really, from what I've told, he was able to regenerate the body without hurting. Like, he has a regen ability. He's able to teleport, which is really fast and really strike-dive against his opponents. And with Chara, yes, Chara does have almost all the same tricks as every other kid. Now, the other thing she can do, she can reset. She also is really quick, so you really gotta make sure you can get an attack in on her. But it just depends on which attack you can get her, though. I don't know exactly where this would go down, but we'll see here. Without any further ado, let's begin the reaction. Alrighty.
Horror is a fascinating genre. It's meant to elicit negative emotions like fear and anxiety. But it's always comforting to know that none of this stuff is real, right?
But what if it was real? That'd be pretty whack, right?
Hey, that's supposed to be my...
The two main players of this story are Chara, the first fallen human.
and Sonic.exe, the god in hedgehog form. I'm Nils.
I'm Nick.
We are your playwrights, and we hope you enjoy this bloody show we are putting on today. Without further ado, let's teach you a little bit about these characters. Welcome, audience, to the Nebula Theater. Once upon a time, there was a war between humans and monsters.
The humans were victorious, forcing the monsters into a subterranean world called the Underground, and erecting an everlasting barrier around them, forcing them to live in isolation for the rest of their days.
For the monsters, this was a crushing sentence, but under the guidance of the peaceful King Asgore and Queen Toriel, they were able to make the most of their situation.
During this, the king and the queen had their first child, Azrael Dreamer, who was destined to do great things. But he would not be their only heir.
One day, something unexpected would happen. An unhappy child would fall into the underground. A human named Chara.
The king and queen adopted Chara as their own, and Chara and Azrael would soon become best friends, as good as siblings even. But there was something that still left Chara discontent.
Chara came into the underground with a hatred for humanity, especially after hearing about the monster's imprisonment. And once they found out how to destroy the barrier, it was only a matter of time before they enacted a plan to free the monsters.
Now, Chara's plan was to poison themselves with toxic flowers and then die. Points for creativity. Then they would have their best friend Azrael absorb their human soul, which would grant Azrael immense power, enough to pass through the barrier. There, Azrael with Chara's soul would kill 6 more humans and take their souls.
You see, human souls contain incredible power, and this barrier could only be destroyed by the might of 7 human souls. Chara sacrificed himself to both save monster kind and exact vengeance upon humanity. But they weren't the only one in control, since Azrael made up half of their fusion.
Now, Azrael wasn't fully on board with the whole killing the humans thing. When a crowd of them attacked him out of fear, Azrael didn't fight back. Instead, he abandoned Kara's mission, returned to the underground grievously wounded and empty-handed.
There, Azrael would succumb to his injuries and die, turning into dust while holding Kara's corpse. The king and queen had lost both of their children after one failed plan.
Man, when you really think about it, Azrael's kind of an L-mans. Like, Kara killed themselves for this, and Azrael did nothing, basically making both of their deaths kinda pointless. Like, killing 6 humans obviously isn't a great thing, don't get it twisted, but still. Are you crying?
No, shut up.
I'm sorry, man. In any case, the underground is now thoroughly shaken. Even after being imprisoned, the humans continue to take from them. To keep hope alive and to get revenge on humanity, Asgore made a drastic decree. All humans who fall underground will be killed, and their souls taken.
As the years went by and more children fell underground, Asgore collected all but one of the souls needed to destroy the barrier and finally escape into the human world, starting the war all over again.
This is where the story of Undertale begins, as you take control of the player character Frisk, the latest fallen human to fall into the underground.
Frisk is mysterious. Not much is known about them from before they fell. But what we do know is that with your help, they are actually a very capable fighter.
Toriel teaches the human the very basics of combat, how to defend themselves, and how to pacify foes without fighting at all. Each monster has a way to pacify it non-lethally, but it is still an RPG. So you have the option to do it the old-fashioned way and just kill them all.
Kinda makes you wonder what would happen if you went out of your way to kill literally everyone, doesn't it?
Just full scorched earth. Undertale isn't just a traditional RPG, it's also a bullet hell, which means Frisk specializes in dodging attacks, waiting for openings, and then punishing the opponent with strong blows.
And Frisk's equipment, while limited, does the job just fine.
The human has the torn notebook, burnt pan, empty gun, and the strongest weapon anyone's ever seen, the real knife. It hurts just looking at it.
That's not even mentioning Frisk's best weapon, their cell phone. Look, hear me out. This cell phone can let Frisk fly and let them shoot lasers.
Not to mention the numerous healing items they have to keep themselves in the fight longer.
Monsters in Undertale don't fight conventionally. They attack the soul directly, meaning that these items are not only healing Frisk's body, but also their soul as well.
But even if their soul is destroyed by an enemy, the human has a broken ability called determination. Just like a video game, this lets Frisk save their progress and load back into their previous save point. So Frisk journeys through the underground, killing every single being they can get their hands on, increasing their level as they go.
Actually, it's not pronounced level, it's pronounced love. Frisk is increasing their love as they go.
Now, hang on just a second. What do you mean their love increases the more they kill people?
So LV is actually short for love, and love is an acronym of levels of violence.
Well, I guess that's the level of writing we could expect from award-winning game dev Toby Wait a second. Does EXP stand for anything weird?
Yeah, EXP stands for execution points.
Well, whatever this love execution point system thing is, it makes the human an absolute terror, being able to kill most other monsters in only a few hits.
The reason why love makes someone stronger is because it represents the emotional distance you put between yourself and the people you're fighting. The more EXP you gain, the more you kill, the easier it is to kill again. Life kind of just loses its gravitas. Like, killing these people doesn't matter at all. Almost like they aren't even real. This leads us back to Flowey. Flowey is a reincarnation of Azrael, although he resembles nothing of what he used to be.
Azrael's essence was fused with a flower, and then forcefully injected with determination, turning him into a soulless husk of what he used to be. Flowey, much like the human, did things out of curiosity. Killing everyone, saving everyone, being neutral. Don't that sound familiar?
This drive for curiosity is something Flowey and Frisk had in common. Well, actually, it's more like it's something that Flowey and the player had in common.
Now, it's time to get a little meta. None of the other humans that fell into the underground had enough determination to change the world like Frisk could.
The lines get a little blurry here, but there's a lot of indication that the determination itself doesn't come exclusively from Frisk, but also from the player themselves. Their curiosity, their desire to see what happens. All these timelines that are possible are all due to the player's actions.
Pacifism, genocide, these are all things that only the player can control. And Flowey is the only one that can accurately recall these events, the only one that can call you out on your bullshit.
Or is he? After
I remember your genocides, Chara.
After Frisk commits a genocide route and exterminates almost every single monster in the underground, they come face to face with Sans. Throughout the story, Sans has been more of a comedic jokester than anything else, but there's always something a bit off with this funny bone man.
He seems pretty unintimidating, but the truth is he's the last defense between the human and everyone else. And turns out, when he isn't avoiding work, he's pretty damn good at his job.
And his job is apparently kicking my ass.
Sans is smart, really smart. But really, really, really smart. He understands the world of Undertale more than almost anyone else. And he knows magic that breaks the mechanics of the game, playing like no other monster the player has fought. On top of all that, despite having no way to remember any resets, he can deduce via context clues exactly what you are. Someone determined to win the game. So if you're gonna fight dirty by getting as many do-overs as you want, so will he.
Yeah, this guy never ends his turn, meaning you never get your turn. So you cheat in kind. You manage to attack during Sans' turn. 2 times in a row, in fact. This catches Sans off guard for the first time, ending my last 6 hours of torment.
6 hours this try. With the human's obstacle gone, the only person left to kill is the king himself, Asgore Dreamer.
And here's where things get really interesting. Because of your actions in this timeline, the king doesn't even recognize you as human anymore, directly asking Frisk what kind of monster they are, leading to Asgore being non-confrontational.
Because of that, Flowey is able to kill Asgore before he even knew what was going on, and Flowey exhibits fear.
Flowey had claimed that he didn't have
crazy.
any emotions anymore, that he did everything out of curiosity, but at the moment of his death, where he knew he couldn't bring himself back to life, he begged, pleaded with Frisk, with the player, with Chara, not to kill him, saying that he never betrayed them after all.
Well, remember when I said Azrael kind of dropped the ball for not killing anyone when him and Chara fused? Well, I guess Chara felt similarly. With no monsters left, all that exists is Chara and the human. Chara was in a similar state as Flowey, but instead of having their essence bound to a flower, they had their essence bound to Frisk, gaining more awareness as Frisk's love grew more and more.
Chara will ask the player whether they want to reset the timeline again or erase everything. No matter what the player answers, Chara will destroy every timeline no matter how many exist, and leave the entire universe as an empty void. Chara does this with a single slash, wiping out everything. Not just every normal monster, but everything within the current existing timeline in its entirety. This includes intangible monsters like Nebula, someone Frisk couldn't harm normally. This attack destroyed all of time and space. It even destroyed the files on the player's computer. Chara was able to destroy infinity. For that to happen, the speed and strength of this attack would be incalculable.
This attack breaks the game, turning it off, and when you open it back up again, and some time passes, Chara will ask the player if they would like to restore the world in exchange for a Frisk soul. Your soul? The line's blurry.
Chara takes the soul for their own, recreating the entire cosmology of Undertale, and now taking control of Frisk's body whenever they wish.
And with that, we reach the end of the tragic tale of Frisk the Fallen Human. We know so little about them, but what we do know is that they had a life before and after the events of the game. That their own will is stolen by the player during the story, and they lose their future to Chara afterwards.
After genocide, resetting the timelines, and eventually taking Frisk's soul, not even the player can stop Chara from accomplishing their ultimate goal.
Because in the end, you're not the only one in control.
Ooh.
Outside of our dimension of the next exists a void of nothingness.
That is, until a mass of dark matter started forming, taking on the appearance of a dark cloud with red dots. This blob will be known as X.
After wandering around this void a bit, X came across this dimensional window that let him peer into the planet Earth, learning all kinds of things about humans, our likes, dislikes, cultures, etc. But of everything it witnessed, one thing stood out above the rest.
It was a franchise that we all know and love, Sonic the Hedgehog. X became infatuated with Sonic to an incredible degree, morphing his entire body to appear like Sonic himself, in a process that seems very uncomfortable.
X's eyes started bleeding profusely and it felt incredible pain. But X didn't care. After its transformation, it let out a laugh that echoed throughout the entire void.
X would then shape his void, creating small rooms that resembled areas you would see in the classic Sonic the Hedgehog games, which is where some would say the series peaked, but I digress.
But as powerful as X was, it wasn't able to actually interact with our dimension. It didn't exist in it after all.
X believed that it was the rightful ruler of all human beings, that everyone deserved to be its slaves. The idea that X couldn't have access to them was frankly unacceptable.
So X needed to devise a plan to gain access to the humans it was so interested in, which led to an interesting conclusion. Although X couldn't physically enter that dimension, it could influence the people inside of it. It can cause a person to feel immense anxiety, give them horrible nightmares, and even influence their minds to do its bidding.
X manipulated this genius US government level programmer to create a disk that would allow X temporary access to the human world. X then sent a piece of his dark power crashing down into the disk to complete it. This imbued the disk with his essence, which would give X complete control over the internals of the game itself.
And with all the steps complete, X can now begin its reign on humanity using a disk with only a single executable file in it. Sonic.EXE. Boom! Name drop, baby.
Now, people really like Sonic the Hedgehog, so taking on his image was the best thing for X to do. A person would buy a Sonic game online because they want to feel the nostalgia, find out the game wasn't what it seemed, but continue on, even after all this messed up stuff and crazy shit they see.
This includes two victims of X's control, Tom and Kyle.
Now, Kyle had sent Tom a copy of Sonic.EXE with a note, explaining that he had passed away, and that Tom should destroy the copy of the game so no one else gets hurt.
Tom, for some reason, didn't listen to this warning, popping the game into his computer and playing the cursed disc that would seal his fate.
Now, you'd think a person would stop playing after they'd start seeing all the blood and gore throughout the game, but thinking that this was just some hacked copy of the original Sonic the Hedgehog, Tom continued out of pure curiosity.
This curiosity would be lethal. Upon completing the game, X would suck out Tom's soul, leaving his body in a vegetative state, and then trap his soul into X's void dimension, binding Tom's soul to an avatar of a Sonic character to play with until he breaks. Because of X's love of humanity, it saw this method as a way to keep humans alive forever, personally believing that the death of a human is a waste of a life.
But breaking them is not a waste of life. Just to get that clear.
It's a god compared to them, okay? It's like when you're a kid and you break a toy. You just replace it with another one, even if you really love the toy that broke.
Now, I don't know about you, but I never treated my toys like X treats the humans he's capturing. He can manipulate the shape of his own body, he can fly, teleport, create illusions, make fire appear from nowhere, turn the world dark, make statues sentient, he even learns every single detail about you in just a few seconds.
Just take Renee Wirtz, for example. From the interaction of Renee playing the game, X found out her name and her exact location. I'd be willing to bet that if any of us were to play this cursed game, X would be able to find out our deepest, darkest secrets. Like how I like to cry to romantic love stories, and the fact that Nick is an SCP in a Santa disguise.
It's not a disguise.
Come on, don't even deny it, man. People have been speculating this for months.
What SCP do they even think I am?
People are saying that you're something like SCP-6121. You know, the one that's just a walking mascot costume?
Damn it. No one even cares about those ones.
Alright, let's just get back to the topic.
Alright. Anyway, beyond everything we've talked about, X's most broken ability is the black hole inside of its mouth. If anyone is swallowed by this black hole, their soul will shrink into a singularity and be wiped off the face of the earth, as if they never even existed.
With all of X's powers, it would then have its disc cycle around the world, stealing soul after soul and stuffing them into avatars of Tails, Knuckles, Eggman, etc.
Something I'm confused about is how is the disc circling around in the first place? Do people really keep just buying the same game from dead person to dead person?
For this information, we can actually thank a lovely detective named Derek Green. Derek was a detective who documented his investigations into the Sonic.EXE murders who unfortunately lost his soul to the very being he was investigating.
From Derek's diary, we learned a lot. We learned how quickly X was improving in stealing souls, initially mutilating the bodies he stole from, before quickly being able to do it without any sign he was there at all. We learned that everyone who had their souls removed also had their PCs and electronics destroyed. We learned that X's overall plan is to merge the human world and his void to gain complete control of all mankind. And we also find out all the factions that helped X with his plans.
X's main following is called the Cult of X, a group of people who see X as the overall ruler of mankind. They copied the main Sonic.EXE game file onto a bunch of discs and had them circulate all over town to create more victims for X. The cult members would then show up to the home of a person whose soul was taken, take the soul back from said person to put it back into circulation, destroy any evidence, and sometimes murder the lifeless body of the person who had their soul stolen.
And that's not the only faction helping X. carrying
messed
out his
up.
mission to enslave all humanity is a big ask, which is probably why he also needed help inside of his void as well. These beings are called the Seven Guardians.
The Seven Guardians were created when X mixed its own dark power with human emotions, creating a ruling force within his void, as well as another way to manipulate human emotions to make it easier for X to steal human souls.
This includes beings like Gukiru, who can manipulate someone's rage, Kyofu, who can manipulate someone's fear, and their leader, Yakubo, who manipulate a person's desires.
The forces EXE has created are essential in helping X with his greatest weakness, the time limit it can spend in the human world.
When X steals a soul, he exits the game momentarily, steals someone's soul, and then returns to his void. This only lasts for a short while. If X stays in the real world for too long, he'll be ejected back into his void. This destroys his body, reducing it to its dark matter form.
Its dark matter form is much weaker than its X form, but if a soul were to touch its dark matter body, it would be erased from existence, like the black hole we saw earlier.
Now listen up, kids. Dark matter in theory is an invisible substance that isn't affected by light or electromagnetic radiation. It plays a very important role in maintaining gravity throughout the entire universe. Unlike matter, there is no such antimatter equivalent that could destroy it completely. Now that being said, it is still a form of matter, meaning that there is a way to destroy it. It would just have to be something with so much energy it could essentially wipe out the entire universe and leave nothing in its wake.
How do you know this much about dark matter?
Hey, you've been around as long as I have, you pick up a thing or two about particle physics.
Starting to feel really inadequate about my statistics degree. In any case, though, X does have other weaknesses, those being his own mentality.
Yeah, X is a bit impatient. If someone were to play the game in a way that X didn't like, or bait it into getting really mad, it has a tendency to rage quit the game, putting X in a sort of sleep mode as the game systems get reset.
Defeating X is no easy feat, however. It was able to explore this entire void, which is a big 4D space, which means, Nick, help?
Hey, don't worry, I got you. 4D spaces have an infinite set of points, meaning there is no end. If X was able to explore the entire void, it would have to essentially have infinite speeds.
Okay, that makes sense. This is consistent with the Word of God, where Joe Doughboy states that X has limitless abilities and that his power level can't be measured. And here I thought just manipulating its own void was impressive.
X would spend years stealing more and more human souls, eventually learning how to manage its anger and gain even better control of its powers. See, Neil, it's not that hard. Even eldritch abominations beyond our comprehension can do it.
Wait, what is that supposed
Once he did this, he donned the name Lord X. A bit of a god complex there, if I do say so myself.
Don't get it twisted. X might seem conceited, but compared to all of us small humans, it is God. And no matter how smart you are,
Oh
X
god, I've
will
never
always
seen
win
that.
in the
I've
end.
never seen that version.
Next
Oh my
time
lord,
you see
I haven't
a
seen that
Sonic
in
game
years.
appear at your door, beware of its contents. Because before long, your soul could be its next plaything.
Now that we've introduced
Oh,
today's
that's giving me just
stars,
chills.
it's time to open the curtains and see how this story unfolds.
I hope you enjoy the show.
Dang.
Hey, I've been searching everywhere. I'm glad I finally found you. I just wanted to ask, would you like to play a game?
Dang. Jesus. Oh boy.
What an interesting soul you have. Up for round two.
Dang. Damn.
maybe
He
next
is
time.
going at it. Ooh. Oh.
Finding everyone in this realm was so easy. Everyone is so slow, fragile, and weak. Don't worry, your soul is next.
Oh. Right. Oh, regeneration.
This mine seems to be at its limit. It's no fun anymore, but I can play with you, right, Chara?
Dang. Oh. He's going using first right now. Oh, that's cool. Bring the minions to this one now. Damn. Yeah, I'm about to say. Eight left. What in the world?
Interesting. Do you think this puts you in control? Like some sort of god?
I am God!
Shoot.
This realm, it has so much death and destruction. Why do you let it persist? Because of some forever time?
I'm not one of you monsters. I am in control of your life and death. You are
Dang.
nothing but a blind under me.
There's nothing worse than someone who thinks they know
Right.
the consequences.
Dang. Oh. Oh my lord. What?
just another enemy. I will erase you like I have one.
What? Oh, he's going with her now.
How does it feel knowing that your last chance at life is now fading before your eyes?
I stopped feeling anything a long time ago.
Dang.
Lying till your last breath, I see.
Damn.
And scene.
These two are absolute monsters that could destroy and recreate worlds in an instant, both potentially being limitless with how strong and fast they could be at their best. So there are some interesting factors to think about in this fight. We broke it down into a few very important questions.
The first question is, could these two even kill each other?
It may seem impossible at first, seeing as X is composed of dark matter and Chara has their save points, but surprisingly, they both had ways to put the other down for good.
Chara's universe-destroying slash destroyed everything. Every creature, location, time, and space, as well as even the game files of Undertale.
It's
Alright.
true that dark matter can't be touched by almost any form of energy, but if someone can interact with intangible beings like souls or ghosts, they should be able to harm or kill X in his dark matter form.
And since Chara's attack rate avoided nothingness, killing even those intangible beings, that slash should be able to kill X.
Chara can use their determination to come back to life, but X has its black hole. This black hole erases the existence of anyone or anything it touches.
X could easily eat Chara's save points to erase their way of coming back, and has methods to get rid of the source of Chara's determination, such as stealing the soul of both Frisk and the player. This leads to
Alright.
the second question, who is the more skilled fighter? Which this one does have a pretty obvious answer.
Chara is the strongest being in Undertale's universe, but they didn't start that way.
They had to fight their way up the ladder, dying and restarting over and over, getting better after each retry.
X has never fought a being comparable to itself. In fact, when it gets outsmarted by normal humans, it has the tendency to rage quit and crash its own game.
As the fight goes on, Chara would start gaining the edge, while X would get more and more aggravated.
But X wouldn't make this easy on Chara, especially when we consider our third question, who had better weapons and abilities?
Chara had some neat weapons and could heal their soul with items, but X just plays in a completely different ballpark.
X can teleport around, create illusions, manipulate anything within its void, and manipulate a person's emotions.
As
Alright.
cool as Chara is, all they can really do is slash at X. While X has tons of ways to keep Chara on the back foot and keep its distance.
So Chara is a more skilled fighter, and X has way more abilities, but the last and most important question is, who is better at manipulating souls and how do they affect the real world?
It's
Ooh.
possible Chara can potentially steal the player's soul, but the player needs to agree to that for Chara to take it completely. Outside of that, Chara erases files in their game, and that's about it.
X can send parts of his essence to the real world, manipulate humans to do its bidding, give them nightmares, and even leave the game entirely for a brief amount of time to take the soul and stuff it inside of one of its avatars.
Now, even without all that, X can still learn a ton about someone just by having a small interaction with them.
Things like Chara's existence within Frisk, the player's existence, and Undertale's game mechanics are all things X should have information on, meaning that X knows exactly what he needs to do to kill Chara permanently. X would just need to stop playing around with its food first.
This was a fight that showed a lot of soul, but save for a few options. X had just enough to avoid defeat. Chara couldn't help but fall behind.
So as the curtains close and we take a bow, the last person you see standing on the stage is Sonic.EXE.
Mm. I actually do. Mm. Hmm. Uh, I'm gonna say this. I don't know those two. So that's just the thing. I don't know these two. Might be a good matchup. We'll see. But for this one, for Chara and Sonic.EXE, wow, There was a lot of things I didn't know, and that actually kind of put me in the shock. Ah, I I just remember back in the old days, like with the Nightmare, including like the original, as I remember watching it. That always scared me, regardless. And that laugh still gives me the dang chills for Sonic.EXE. But the fact that he can actually do things that I didn't even recognize, that is morely scary and more sickening than I remember. With Chara, I was really shocked to know her own story and background, and it is kind of sad to learn. But man, and I kind of think the fight would go down this. I wouldn't say the fight would go down this way, but if you are counting the fact of what the XE can do and what Lord X is capable of, then yeah, I could see this possibility. But anyway, guys, if you enjoyed that reaction, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm going to give a huge shout out to... Who is this from? I'm trying to... Uh-oh. I don't think it shows. Oh, no. I really want to give a shout out because this was actually really good. I really liked it. Oh, man. But y'all... But I probably will leave credit in the description. So anyway, guys, I will see y'all in the next one. Later.